everybody, Crystal Clear 101 here with another Transformers toy review, and today I'll be reviewing the Voyager Class Age of Extinction Grimlock. First off, here's the front of his packaging. Here is the side. Here is the reverse side. As you can see, he's in his classic T-Rex mode, so I'm liking that so far. And I've already done a review of the Evasion Mode Optimus Prime. Here is the side of the packaging. Alright, now let me go ahead and get him broken out of his package and let's see how good this figure is. Be back in just a moment. Okay, now here is Age of Extinction Grimlock out of his packaging. Well, let me go ahead and say that upon taking him out of the packaging, he actually does look pretty sweet. Now, after fooling with him, I have some pros and I do have a couple of cons. Okay, now as far as my pros go, number one, I love the overall look of him. I love the fact it's almost like a robotic samurai type of look. I mean, it's like a robotic samurai, a little bit of barbarian. You know, just that real brutish look. I think that just looks flat out sweet. Number two, I already said his overall appearance. On top of that, you gotta admit, the two upper halves of the T-Rex skull over his shoulders, those actually look pretty nice. Makes him look a little more fierce, if you ask me. Number three, is his articulation. There is one part of his articulation I do have a little bit of a problem with, but I'll get to that in just a minute. But he's got good articulation for a Transformer. I mean, almost as good as Optimus Prime, Evasion Mode Optimus Prime. But you can have him in all sorts of different positions, especially as far as like display options, stuff like that goes. Number four, I do like his weapon. I mean, his weapon just looks brutish. I mean, it's like a combination of like a warhammer with a mace. I mean, I think if I was another Transformer, I don't think I'd want to get hit with that thing. But overall, his weapon looks brutal. And it looks to me like it would match the character, like it would match his overall look. Number five, I love the T-Rex mode for this fella. I love the fact that Grimlock, even though it's this is the movie version, he is still a T-Rex. He's still a Dinobot. So that for me is automatically a win. And number six, he's got a fairly easy conversion. Now, unlike with Evasion Mode Optimus Prime, I was actually able to figure this guy out without the instruction manual. I mean, he's actually fairly straightforward as far as a Transformer goes. So as far as transforming him goes, he's actually fairly easy. He's not too difficult. Alright, now as far as my cons are concerned, I do have three. I have three cons about this figure that I personally don't care for. Number one, I just don't care for the color scheme of this guy. I mean, yeah, this is intended to be a toy. It's supposed to be a little more colorful. But I just personally wish that this would have been more accurate to his movie self. I just wish that he would have had a lot more silver in him. Number two on my list is that he has no independent articulation with his wrist. And let me explain. Alright. Now his wrist right here is connected to the bottom part of what would be his leg in T-Rex mode. Okay, these for the most part are in one solid piece. Now the way I have his arm position for holding his weapon, as you can see, there is a slot right there. That slot is for this portion of his leg to go into that slot right there. Now, with it being in that position, I mean, you cannot turn his wrist without having to turn his arm. And there's just certain positions that, you know, if you want to display him, the only way you'll be able to is to pop it out and then individually rotate it. So that for me is a minor complaint that I have. And my third and final complaint I really do have is just with Evasion Mode Optimus Prime, he does not have a spot to store his weapon in robot mode. Now, when I show him in his T-Rex mode, he's got an awesome way of storing his weapon. I mean, it is a very ingenious way of storing his weapon in his Dinobot mode. But, I mean, those are my only true complaints that I have about Grimlock. Now, as far as his transformation goes, let me go ahead and get on to showing how his transformation goes.
Time before I go, I'll let you know that all this time I've been afraid, wouldn't let it show. Nobody can save me now, no. Nobody can save me now. Stars are only visible in darkness. Fear is ever changing and evolving. And I, like a poison in his eyes. And I feel so alive. Nobody can save me now. King is strong, still die. Nobody can save me now. No, I save, it's the battle cry. It's the battle cry. It's the battle cry. Nobody can save me now. Still die.
And here is Grimlock in T-Rex mode. Let's get a better look at him. Now, first off, I love this T-Rex mode. I mean, granted, this is supposed to be a movie version of a classic G1 character, but I don't mind the overall look of him. My only complaint, honestly, is his overall color scheme. I wish he would have a lot more silver in him. Especially as how you see him in the movie. But, aside from that, I honestly don't have too many complaints. I mean, he's able to stand reasonably well, considering the way that his legs are. And on top of that, one of the neat little things I do like is he does have a little spring-loaded gimmick with his jaw, where you can press up and he closes his jaw. And you can also open the upper part of his skull if you wanted to. But, I mean, my only tiny complaint I have about that is I just wish it was one of those where you press it to open his mouth, not close his mouth. That's just me, though. But, regardless, I like that. In addition to that, just like with Evasion Mode Optimus Prime, you can store his weapon in his, well, in this case, in his T-Rex mode. And the weapon storage for it is actually both, not only is it ingenious to me, but it's also freaking sweet. Now, if you notice these little tabs towards the back of his tail. There's also a slot down here on his weapon. But gotta work with it for a moment. Wanted to get away. And there we go. Guys, he goes from having this little stubby tail to almost like a club tail of doom. I mean, not only does it add on to his overall length, but with the tail, with his weapon mounted on the very back of him to extend his tail, it makes him look even more wicked. This Grimlock, to me, is just excellent. I love this Grimlock. The only weapon or accessory that comes with Voyager Class Grimlock is his primary weapon, which in design is a combination of both a warhammer with a mace, which can be stored in his T-Rex mode, which not only stores his weapon, but also extends his overall length. An articulation for Age of Extinction Grimlock in robot mode consists of a swivel head, hinged neck, swivel hinge shoulders, swivel biceps, hinge elbows, swivel wrists, swivel hinge hips, swivel thighs, hinge knees, and hinged ankles. An articulation for Grimlock in his T-Rex mode consists of a hinged upper jaw with a spring-loaded hinged lower jaw, ball-jointed shoulders, swivel hinge hips, swivel thighs, hinged knees, and hinged shins. So overall, what is my personal verdict on the Voyager Class Age of Extinction Grimlock? Aside from the few cons that I have about this figure, I still think he's awesome. This is, as far as design goes, this is probably the coolest looking of the, I guess, Bayformers you can call them. I mean, he looks sweet. He may not have that traditional Grimlock look, but his overall appearance is still menacing. He still turns into a T-Rex, which is still traditional Grimlock. And on top of that, his conversion from robot to T-Rex mode is relatively simple, especially for a movie figure. But if you're a fan of the Michael Bay Transformers, or you're a fan of the character Grimlock, then do not hesitate to pick up this particular version of him. He's still really cool. He's got great articulation. Minus aside from the fact he has no independent wrist articulation, he still looks really sweet. So if you can still find this guy, do go pick him up. He's worth adding to any Transformers collection. That's just my personal opinion. But that'll wrap up my review on the Transformers Age of Extinction Voyager Class Grimlock. Be sure to rate, comment, and subscribe.